Okay, if you can't hear the words la vaca, that's
right.
cow.
In Spanish. Our producer David was wondering whether or not we'd know what was going on with that one.
David.
We picked it up. Pretty good.
We got
Clever.
what you're doing here. But he was so proud of it, and I thought that was really
as he should be. I like it.
Nice music
Happy
selection.
Monday.
We have DJs, also producers. They do a lot of things here. But good morning, everybody. It is 6:01. Thanks for being here. I'm Nada Iranpour.
And I'm Evan Irani in for Eric Connert this morning. First full day of the spring season as well. Persian New Year that we celebrated yesterday. So a lot of new starts as we kick off our Monday. Take a look at your forecast, too. We've got plenty of warm temperatures on the way. Low 70s across the coast and inland. Looks like we'll make it to the 60s across your mountains as the next several days. We're going to see those temperatures continue to warm up nicely. We've got widespread 80s expected as we go into about your Tuesday, Wednesday or so. So things are going to be starting to warm up really nicely for the next couple days with a ridge of high pressure. As far as traffic goes, there are no major crashes or collisions to get to. Showing you your temperatures, though. We'll let you know if we see any changes on that traffic map this morning.
And now here's what we're following for you this morning. A La Mesa man accused of a deadly shooting on State Route 94 is expected to appear before a judge for the first time. Thomas Evans III is in jail after being arrested over the weekend. Investigators say he shot 27-year-old Sandra Lena Williams while she was driving right along the westbound lanes. This was in Spring Valley earlier this month. Unfortunately, she died after being taken off life support just days later. Now, the suspect, Evans, faces several possible felony charges, including first-degree murder. Also new this morning, the search is going on right now for a missing teenager out of Escondido. So please take a close look at your screen right here. He is considered at risk. I apologize. He's 11 years old. Eduardo Nolasco Antonio was last seen along North Fig Street near Fig Court. It was about 10 a.m. Saturday morning, so has not been seen since. Eduardo Nolasco Antonio is 4 feet 4 inches tall. He weighs 65 pounds. He was wearing a gray T-shirt, black pants, and red Nike high-top sneakers. Call Escondido Police if you have any information.
And this morning, tens of thousands of grocery workers across Southern California are preparing for a potential strike. Today marks the start of an authorization vote. CBS 8's Dana Marie McNichol is live this morning in Chula Vista. She joins us with more on what we can expect moving forward. Hi, Dana Marie.
Well, good morning to you both, Netta and Evan. Grocery workers here in San Diego say they are done working for unlivable wages. That strike authorization vote could affect Ralph's, Albertsons, and Vons grocery stores. Now, if an agreement isn't made with store owners by Easter Sunday, those grocery store workers say that they're ready for the picket line. Here's the union president.
We've been negotiating for our contract with our grocery stores for several months now, and things have kind of come to a head. Our members have been through hell for the last 2 years due to COVID, the political climate, and now this great resignation where a lot of people don't want to work. Our members continue to show up for work. They continue to put their lives on the line, and it's time for them to be given a livable salary.
Now, that was Todd Walters, president of United Food and Commercial Workers Local 135, claiming that these companies have committed several unfair labor practices. For example, members that have been working for 20 to 30 years are only making just a little bit over minimum wage. Here in San Diego, 9,000 grocery workers are affected by this contract, and about 6,000 members are taking the strike vote this morning. There have been months of negotiations back and forth, and Walter says the vote will be tallied up next Sunday, and if an agreement is not reached by Easter, then they will go on strike. Now, Ralph's has issued a statement saying, quote, while the company made several wage proposals, the union continues to propose very costly items, which impacts our ability to meet customer needs and remain competitive. Our offer continues to provide industry-leading wages and health care benefits at zero additional costs to associates over the next 3 years. Now, the voting is happening this morning in Chula Vista around 7 a.m., Escondido and Mission Valley over the next couple of days as well. CBS 8 reached out to those grocery stores, Vons, Albertsons, and Ralph's, asking for a comment. We haven't received anything back, but of course, we will keep you updated on this vote and if an agreement is met. If not, we'll see many of your local neighborhood grocery store workers out there on the picket lines. I'm Dana Marie McNichol, live for CBS 8. I'll send it back to you.
President Biden starts his week with a phone call to discuss the war in Ukraine with European leaders. On Friday, he'll visit Poland to address this ongoing refugee crisis there.
And the United Nations says 10 million people have now been displaced by the war, with 3 million leaving Ukraine. Many have fled the port city of Mariupol, which has suffered from constant devastating shelling by Russian forces.
What happens in Mariupol is an epitome of war crime. Instead of simply opening a humanitarian corridors as we agreed and letting people out and letting supplies in, Russians are just trying to take the city down.
Ukrainian officials have rejected a Russian demand to surrender Mariupol by early this morning.
And gas prices here in San Diego at another record, as you see right here. Today, the 27th consecutive day of these rising prices. The average price for regular unleaded, $5.92, 1 cent more than yesterday, and it's up nearly 16 cents a gallon over the last week, and then over the past month. We were paying $3.92, as you say, $2 less a year ago. More potential trouble for California drivers. More than 500 steel workers at the second largest refinery in our state are planning to go on strike starting today. So union workers at the Chevron refinery in the Bay Area are planning to strike over a labor contract dispute. If the strike shuts down this refinery, gasoline supplies across California could take a hit. However, Chevron says refinery operations will continue and that it does not expect any supply chain issues. Those high gas prices having some ripple effects, as they tend to do. The grocery delivery platform, now Instacart, says it's adding a temporary fuel surcharge to your orders. It's similar to what Uber and Lyft are now doing. Companies want to offset high gas prices for their drivers. So now 40 cents will be tacked on to every Instacart order over this next month. Instacart says it could start in just a matter of days.
And a historic Senate confirmation hearing begins today to decide if federal appeals court Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson will be the next justice to serve on the Supreme Court. If confirmed, Brown Jackson will be the first black woman to have a seat on the high court. CBS's Elise Preston takes a look at what to expect in the coming days.
Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson will deliver an opening statement before the Senate Judiciary Committee today, the first black woman to ever do so as a nominee for the High Court. She would replace Justice Stephen Breyer, for whom she once clerked.
Justice Breyer, the members of the Senate will decide if I fill your seat, but please know that I could never fill your shoes.
The Harvard-educated D.C. appellate judge will then field questions from 11 Senate Democrats and 11 Senate Republicans starting Tuesday. Each senator has 30 minutes to question President Biden's first Supreme Court nominee. Democrats have the slightest margin to confirm Jackson, but it's not clear if any Republicans will vote with them.
I haven't made a final decision as to how I'm going to vote. I'm willing to listen to the testimony. That's why we have hearings.
The American Bar Association gave Jackson its highest rating of well qualified, but some Republican leaders last week questioned her record on protecting children.
I'm not aware of a single case in which Judge Jackson has actually sentenced a child porn offender to the recommended sentence that the guidelines, the federal guidelines, say they should get.
The White House called the criticism toxic and weak.
And so this attack that we've seen over the last couple of days relies on factual inaccuracies and taking Judge Jackson's record wildly out of context.
Democrats are hoping to wrap up Jackson's confirmation by Easter. Elise Preston, CBS News.
And we will have a CBS News special report on today's Supreme Court hearings. So that's scheduled to begin at 8 a.m. right here on CBS 8. Meanwhile, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas is in a Washington, D.C. hospital. He was admitted Saturday for flu-like symptoms. Justice Thomas underwent testing before being diagnosed with an infection. He's now being treated with antibiotics and is expected to be released in the next day or two from the hospital. Okay, let's check in with Evan now. As you mentioned, first day of spring,
That's
start
right.
of a new year for many of Persians around, the world.
That's right. But with that time change, we still are another hour or so out from when we'll see some light. I know, still dark here at 6 o'clock. 6:10 to be specific. Here's a view as we look out toward downtown. Things are still very nice. There's our Coast Guard station. We have dealt with a few clouds through the overnight hours, and temperatures are really mild, but still chilly off toward your inland valleys. Ramona, 36 degrees. Poway, 45. Escondido 43, Carlsbad 52. So what we see here is that it is a cold start to the morning, but these temperatures are largely in line with what we would expect for this time of year. We're going to be moving to the nice and above average range over the next several days. Tuesday through Thursday, a stretch of 80s, widespread 80s in the mix, whereas a 24-hour temperature change here shows that we're off to a much colder start to our Monday morning. Ramona is 13 degrees colder than this time 24 hours ago. Alpine 9 degrees colder, 2 degrees colder in San Diego, and 6 degrees colder in Oceanside. So you see how the clouds that joined us from Saturday into Sunday and even brought plenty of rain for us have also allowed for now cooler temperatures as they clear out, meaning that without those clouds, we see a lot more cooling than we're normally used to. Take a look at the 10-day temperature trend. Tomorrow, we start a pretty significant warm-up. Tuesday through Thursday, widespread 80s. Beyond Friday, we're going to start that gradual cool down, eventually making it all the way to the mid and lower 60s by Monday of next week. Monday of next week is the day to keep an eye on. That's when we see a good chance of the coldest temperatures of the week, and also when we can expect a chance for showers back in the mix. So we're staying dry between tomorrow all the way to end the week. I mean, you see that stretch of nice and warm temperatures under a ridge of high pressure, and then it looks like after that low sinks in, we'll start to warm up once again into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So for the next 12 hours, ridge of high pressure starts to build, partial cloud cover out there, temperatures in the low 70s for the most part. If we look at what's going on in traffic this morning, there are no major crashes or collisions to get to. It looks like it is a pretty clear screen that we have here at the 6 o'clock hour. Good news to start off your Monday, of course. We'll let you know if we see any changes, but for now, just some areas of construction that we're dealing with.